Hey, what episode is this?
57.
58?
Pulling the Thread podcast, episode 57. Why are all women miserable?
What? Are women miserable?
Why
not all of them are miserable.
Just a subset of
Just
them.
a subset.
Why are they so miserable?
It's because they have been told and lied to by the Rockefellers. If they follow the male arc, because we're equal, right? If they follow the male arc, they will end up with happiness. And they're not ending up with happiness. They're ending up miserable and unable to meet men because that's not what men want.
Well, they actually are dominant, so they take weak men, and then they're unhappy in that role, right? They want to live the role of the masculine, right? So they've been told all along that, they've been propped up or whatever, and so they take weak mates, and then.
Well, I think they don't take weak mates. I think weak mates are all that's offered to them.
Maybe
it's why, like, if they do, you can get on the digitals and do the YouTubes. When they do interviews where they'll go to college campuses and they'll talk to liberal women, and a lot of them are like,
they don't have a look.
Well, not that. It's a lot of them are like, yeah, unfortunately, who I really want to date, they're all goddamn conservatives. And they hate the fact that they're conservatives, but it's that conservatism that is what is making them attracted.
Yeah.
That's what makes them attractive.
No,
because why would you want a woman doesn't want somebody that they have to take care of.
Peterson talks about this a lot.
They want someone who can take care of them, period.
Yes.
Now that doesn't mean, again, I'm not voting for women back in the kitchen, and I don't know, maybe I am. Because those women tend to be more happy. Right? And I'm not saying that women can't do things that men can do. They can. It's just...
There's a lot less outside influence that way as well.
Yeah. It's just, what ultimately is going to lead to your happiness. And this is the thing I think women forget, or women don't understand, is 90% of the male arc, right? When men are out laying bricks, building bridges, fucking tunneling bunkers, they're not happy doing that. They're not happy doing that. That arc is not what's making them happy. What's making them happy is doing that and finding the right mate that is going to support them while they're doing that, so they can support the mate that is going to make them happy. That's why they're doing it. I mean, the truth of the matter is, if there were no women, if it was just men on this planet, we would all live in caves. We'd have fucking super big trucks, and that's about it. There wouldn't be nothing else.
I have that.
Yeah.
I have exactly that.
But that's what it would be. The only reason why there are fucking bridges, roads, houses, chandeliers, anything you can think of, the goddamn iPhone was invented so somebody could get laid. Period. That's it. It was invented so Steve Jobs could have fucking 10 girlfriends. Now, he may lie about it and be like, "Oh, I just want to be rich." But the whole point of being rich is for you to have a bigger pool of women that you can choose from. Right? That's the whole point of it. Nobody gets rich because they want to sit on they're Duck McGoose, and they want to sit on a fucking pile of gold coins.
So at what point do you find the one?
Oh, God damn. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something that's going to sound strange. You don't ever know that you're going to find the one. Like, you don't ever know when you are going to find the one. When you found the one?
When she's gone?
When she's gone. That's when you know you found the one. And the hard part about finding the one is you can go through your life eating, you can go through your life, I've been talking to John about this, you can go through your life eating cricket loaf, right?
Because you don't know what's at the front of the train.
You're eating cricket loaf, and you're happy with cricket loaf. Some cricket loaf is better than others. Like, you meet someone and that cricket loaf has got little sprinkles on top of it, and you're like, this is the best cricket loaf ever. And if you're really lucky, you get to go to the front of the train.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly. Yeah, I know exactly. If you're lucky, you get to go to the front of the train. And when you get to the front of the train, you realize your whole life you've just been eating cricket loaf. That's the hard part, because again, you don't know what you don't know until it's too late.
You're
right?
content.
You don't know until it's already passed you by, and then you're like, holy fuck, I've been eating cricket loaf. Now, the hard part is, do you go back to cricket loaf? Right? If you can't stay in the front of the train anymore, do you go back to cricket loaf? I can't do that. I'm not going back. I'll fight to the front of the train.
So Amanda and I split up
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years, and I did all kinds of crazy shit. But then when we got back together, I was very pleased with that, right? I was missing something, from all the others. Yeah. And I when Amanda came back, I was good, right? Now, if you've experienced something beyond where you were, you could always pull her with you. You could, change that. You don't have to go back to eating cricket loaf. You could eat something different with her. I'm not saying.
No, I know. I get what you're. I
always say there's other levels to this shit.
I get
right?
what you're saying, but again, in your unique situation, not in your unique situation.
I think it is unique.
In your unique situation, Amanda came back.
Yes.
Right. Amanda came back. I am in a different unique situation where that is not going to happen. Right. So the problem I have now, the big problem I have now is no matter what I'm doing, right, I'm always looking at everybody else's cricket loaf. Like everybody else is just going to be, can someone else live up to my expectations now? I've eaten the chocolate with the gold fucking on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So can I go back to fucking Hershey's bars with, grasshopper legs in it and shit? I don't know. I don't know. It's really baffling because again, in this situations are unique. I've never been here before. I've never been on this road before, and so yeah, that's my current problem is just cricket loaf. It's everybody I see. Again, there are people there are people out there right now that I'm sorry if I'm calling you cricket loaf, but you are cricket loaf.
I mean, I'm sure we both have friends. We have friends that are in relationships and they seem content, right? But we look at them and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's a miserable bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like most of my friends' women. Like, It's very rare that I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Bring your wife. It's more like, hey, oh, your wife's out of town? What do you want to do, right?
What do you want to do? Yeah. So anyways, that's my cricket loaf analogy. I don't know. I don't know. Again, though, I will say this. I will say this. Because of this, because again, like I said, I don't want to go back to the train. I don't want to go to the back of the train now. Because of that, it's pushing me to do other things, right? So,
well, men get better with age. Your finances get better. Your physical gets better. Your ability to take care and nurture your partner gets better as you get older, right? Women, not so much so. There's some fucking hot ass older women, right, that are hotter than they were when they were younger.
Yeah.
But most of those younger women continue to get, in better shape, such. But most of them don't. You look at pictures. I just saw a crazy one. I don't remember who it even was. It was a real famous movie star at like 30 was beautiful, and now like 10 years later is just this fucking beast, like hideous.
That's a hard comparison though.
What I'm saying is, you can. How old are you? 50?
Yeah.
At 50, you could date a 35-year-old woman, and it wouldn't be out of the realm. You could date a 30-year-old woman, and you're going to be a better option than most 30-year-olds.
Yes, I think that's true, but I also think that, I don't know. I am in fucking Waverly, Tennessee. I had this conversation with John. How different things would be right now if I was in California, right? Mm-hmm. How different things would be. I don't know if I would be talking about cricket loaf.
What do you think you'd be doing if you were in California?
Well, if I was still in California, I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things that it's population density, right? There's no, as you kindly put out all the time when people talk about coming out here, bring your own girl. because there's no girls out here. There's nothing out here, right? Yeah, okay, I could go to Nashville, but I can't go to Nashville every night. So, again, it's population density, right? So,
we're going to Nashville. I mean, what are you going to meet in Nashville? You're going to go to a fucking bar? You're going to meet a...
That's what I'm saying,
like, what
right?
the fuck are you going to do with that?
That's the hard part. So, anyways, it doesn't matter. Outside of... would be my dilemma. But, I'm working on things to move further out. So hopefully.
What do you mean further out?
Just start going places, Just,
got it, yeah.
Go places.
Well, that's what you need to do. You need to go where there are people, and, you're going there with an interest, the purpose of whatever. So when you go to Overland Expo or whatever, there's going to be women there who have their vehicles and shit. You're going to meet, people that have those same interests.
That's not necessarily the
goal.
The goal.
For sure.
It's just, I got to stay busy, right? Because I'm
you don't have to
get to the front of the train.
You don't need to go looking for one. You just need to attract them. Your force field gets stronger and stronger, and magnetically. I mean, you'll find. I mean, half of them will be dudes pretending to be women online, but I mean, there will be like some of your followers following you.
Yeah. Again, I don't mean to drive down this road. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I can't control it. And that, again, my problem right now is when I talk about, man, it just bugs the fuck out of me when I talk about Cricket Loaf. That's when I talk about Cricket Loaf. That's when I see somebody. When I see somebody, it's instantly a comparison, right? It's instantly what are the things that made me happy before? What are those things? And this is just she's just Cricket Loaf. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to fill those shoes. That's all I'm saying.
Lance said something on the podcast that has stuck with me, and he says, when you're doing things as a father, it's not always things you want to do, but it's to ground you. Like their job is to hold you from going and doing crazy things, right? It is to ground you to develop those children. Yeah. And that just kind of stuck with me. It's not always about. And when we talk about degradation of society or the problems with society now, everything's instant gratification, and we're upwardly mobile, and we have all of this money, so we want to travel, so we don't want to have kids, right? So you've got these people that, all of a sudden at 40, that's why you have fucking 50-year-old people having, children and shit. And they're not really there to raise their kids, Those kids are,
Yeah, no.
50, 60 years old. I mean, remember Ramsey, right?
Yeah.
Ramsey, he was 65 years old and married that. I don't even remember I thought she was like some little hot Italian chick. But they had kids. Remember, he was 65 years old and had a kid.
Yep. I don't know. Anyways, it is what it is.
All right.
Isn't there something special we can talk about? We don't need to talk about me. Mine's
I think this
dumb.
is pretty special.
Mine's not special. Mine is dumb.
I think it is.
Mine's dumb. I could hook up with Jade.
We're on.
I know. Jade. I mean, who doesn't want to hook up with Jade Marsh?
Yeah, he's got fancy shoes.
He's got fancy shoes. He dresses nice.
Ties good knots.
Right? I'm not too fond of him, and he shaved his beard and shit.
I've not seen him with a shaved beard. Who's he work for?
He does a podcast.
Like that's his thing now?
I don't know if it's his full thing. I don't know if it's his full thing, but I see him. He interviews knife guys, which he should have done a long time ago.
I do notice that he's never asked me to be on this podcast.
Because you're not at Blade Show.
He only does podcasts at Blade Show?
I don't know where he does his podcast, but I feel like whenever I see him doing it, he's at some knife venue. He's not like in a studio. He's at the place.
He's doing leather work.
Is he doing leather work?
I thought he was.
I mean, he's always done something crafty.
Arty.
He's very crafty. That's good.
Crafty.
He's very crafty. Did you see the tunnels, by the way, that they just found in New York City, bro?
I don't think they're really anything to them.
What do you
think it really is?
In the synagogue?
Yeah.
What I think it is New York City was very hard on the Hasidic Jew community because, again, they're non-vaxxers and they wanted to get together and pray during COVID, and New York City was very hard on them about that, not letting them pray.
Yeah, they were closing down parks.
Yeah, they were doing all kinds of shit against that particular group. I think they were digging the tunnels, so if that shit happened again, you could go to synagogue. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I think they were just digging the tunnel so you could be like, hey, bah, you can still come to synagogue. Just just get in the tunnel. I think that's what they were doing.
So there's tunnels fucking everywhere.
Yeah, there's everywhere
right?
in New York City.
So do you think
they've been digging tunnels?
So these aren't new tunnels. They're just reutilizing tunnels.
I'm sure they're doing a lot of pass through, but they were doing enough work that a wall collapsed inside that fucking synagogue, and that's how the tunnels were found out.
Got it. Okay. So when I first heard it, I thought it's like Palestine's fucking
that's what I thought too. I thought maybe they're going to try and blow up the synagogue, but
then they started talking about kids' mattresses and shit, and they were saying like when their wives have their periods, they go into like a sequestration, right? They go into a private place for a few days or something. I'd heard that, and then you hear like all this crazy conspiracy shit that's like they're trafficking children, and there's all kinds of other kinds of shit. I don't think they had a dirty mattress that looked like it had been there for fucking 50 years or whatever, because those tunnel systems have all that could have been like from old speakeasy shit. It could have been old steam tunnels. It could have been prohibition stuff.
Or the dudes that are down there digging the tunnels are also sleeping in the tunnels because you can't. It's not like because they said that it was a small group of individuals that was doing the work, and so and that they were extensive networks. My guess is they were breaking into existing tunnel structures, but if you're a small group, you've got to be down there 24/7 if you're going to get anything done. So that I don't believe that the Hasidic Jews are hiding children in the tunnels. That's just bullshit.
So the other crazy one I heard was people were putting out that they're actually using children and they're using human blood and putting it into the sausage that they sell in their delis. So like I'm like, where did that's some pretty wild shit, man. You guys really reached out far on that one.
Yeah, it's the hate goes deep.
So what was the big fight about? There was a fight actually happening in that fucking church that night. Who was that?
That was other Hasidic Jews, or I'm sorry if it's not Hasidic Jews, guys, but that was other parishioners that didn't know the tunnels were being dug. So when that wall fell down, they were like, what the fuck? The only reason why we know about this is because other parishioners were like, holy shit, there's a fucking tunnel, right? That's the only reason why we know about it. And it had to have been parishioners that called the police. So again, small group of individuals who decided, hey, it'd be cool is if we could come to synagogue whenever we want and the government can't stop us. They start digging tunnels. They don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're not Palestinian. So the wall collapses, and now everybody in the synagogue knows. And I think the parishioners that had the biggest problem was because that particular building, that particular synagogue is really old, and it's a holy place to them now. So I think that's why they were pissed off, is because you're undermining this building. If the fucking building collapses because you got to have your stinky getaway tunnels, what the fuck? Right. So that's what I think happened. That's really what I think happened. That's why they were, and then when they were throwing up everything against it, that was just them like, hey guys, can you hide the thing can you hide the illegal work that we're doing? So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
So I'd also heard that some of the heads of church were trying to fill the passages in with concrete. They're bringing concrete trucks or pump trucks in to bury the evidence from what they were saying, whatever that evidence was.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? I don't know if it's evidence or the fact that I don't know if you've seen the video, but again,
I saw the video from that night,
or the fact that half the fucking wall of that building fell down.
Oh shit!
So if you've undermined the structure, the only way to fix that is to fill all that back in with something that's going to hold that structure up. But again, I'm not there. I don't know. If you're there, go check it out.
I don't know.
But
Hasidic Jews are the fucking least of our fucking worries in the United States here. Do you guys not have some real shit to be concerned with?
So that's all I think. I think it was just some people trying to circumvent the government so that they could worship. But again, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're aliens.
I think you're going to see a lot more fucking lockdown shit coming up. I mean, look at the crazy shit that's happening just in the first few the first week of this year. I mean, right where we're at right now.
What's
just
happened?
So far, fucking everything has happened, man. Just fucking.
Has it?
Maybe not.
what's
I mean,
happened?
maybe it is amplified, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Besides the aliens in
Have
Florida,
you
what-
seen Joe Biden's new campaign video? The first video. I'm Joe Biden and I approve this video.
No, it's just all.
Everybody didn't vote for me as a
As a
fucking as
racist.
a domestic terrorist
Yeah.
and a racist. And he went to a black church and started his stuff, and they heckled him there at the.
Good. I'm glad you guys heckled him, because anybody that comes out with a statement like that completely takes half of this country and turns them into evil enemies of your party, he's a goddamn Nazi. He's a fucking Nazi. For approving that message, and anyone who supports that message is a fucking Nazi. If you can't attack or debate your opponents without turning them into some sort of effigy, you are the problem. You Democrats are the fucking problem. If you cannot do it that way, if you can't be elected by the merits of your message, fuck you.
Where did slavery come from?
You mean the Democrats?
Yeah, where'd Jim Crow laws come from?
You mean the Democrats?
Right.
Yeah.
Where'd division of the family come from? Where'd the food stamps come from?
Democrats?
Where'd the fucking projects come from?
Democrats, because
Food
you know
islands. Where did removing the off ramps to the fucking to your cities come from?
Because you know what Democrats love more than anything else, even in this modern world? Slaves. They love slaves. You know why? Because the slave doesn't know better. Slave's going to vote for master because he gives him food. Slave's going to vote for master because he gets his food stamps. Slaves don't know better. That's what Democrats love more than anything, is just slaves.
Payday
Sorry.
loans.
I mean, again,
Payday
slaves.
loans. They have this thing called phantom credit now, right? So you do this. You can go online. You can go to a store. It's like layaway, but they give you the shit up front now. Mm-hmm. So you do this buy now pay later shit. It's on all these websites, but it doesn't actually register on your credit score. So they're saying a ton of people have taken this, and as soon as you default on your first payment, that interest rate goes
crazy,
like insanely. Like
I mean, the interest rate, if you don't,
like if I loaned you money and charged you that kind of interest rate, they would fucking get me
racketeering. Yeah. The crazy thing is the fucking loan itself. If you say that the interest rate's jacked up, just getting that loan, the interest rate is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's a monthly interest rate.
They're saying people have maxed out all their credit cards to buy food or pay rent. They are taking HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, but they're not using it to improve the homes. They're using it to just continue to live. They're saying, where did I hear this at? Valuetainment, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but he said something like 80%, and I don't know how many were in the poll, but 80% of small business owners polled said that their revenue, so their sales are completely down this year. And they're having to, 80% of them polled took a second job to maintain their personal bills and such. They're not able to maintain it through the businesses.
Do you see that?
I see sales down. Yeah, we're a lot more work, definitely. And we're seeing a lot of raw goods just missing. We see companies, and that's what I've been saying, right? For the last couple of years, I said, all this crazy shit happening right now, it's not from today, it's from 6 months ago. So as crazy as it is today from 6 months ago, imagine how fucking crazy it's going to be 6 months from now from what's happening today. It's that avalanche, and that snowball is getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes down that hill.
Well, you are personally in a unique position because of the type of raw goods that you need, right? Because of raw goods you need. What most people don't understand or not uniquely aware of is China has not recovered from COVID. They have not recovered from COVID. They are still struggling with COVID. And that's why companies in America can't get raw goods, because they're fucking still struggling in China. And the question will be, will China ever recover? We're going to have to go through, in this country, we're going to have to go through a period of starvation on materials because we have been fucking stupid.
And
we've been relying on China. But we're going to have to go through a period of starvation where companies are going to stand up and start making those raw materials within the United States, which we have all the capability to do. We have all the materials. You have to understand, in the early 80s, especially in the 90s, all the companies went offshore because it was cheaper.
Well, it was incentivized.
Yeah, it was incentivized,
Yeah.
but it was cheaper. So they went offshore. And so that's why Walmart was able to buy fucking, lamps for 10 cents a piece because they were being made in China for a nickel or even 2 pennies, right? That's going to come to a halt. It's going to stop. I mean, it may not completely stop, but it is going to come to a trickle. And what you're going to see is you're going to see, in the days of past. So in the days of past, so like when you think about the Rockefellers, as evil as a lot of the stuff that they did, they were investing in companies within the United States to make steel, to make whatever we need, whatever raw goods we needed. The billionaires of today aren't doing that outside of Elon Musk, right? The billionaires of today are offshoring everything so they can become multi-billionaires.
They're sucking the United States dry.
Right. So they can become multi-billionaires. Their children or them are going to have to de-invest in what they've been doing and start reinvesting in America in order to be able to continue that cycle. Because, again, Amazon's not going to be able to get you all those fucking stupid trinkets anymore because China is going to stop sending us shit.
Well, they know they're at that tipping point right now. That's why you hear so much about bunkers, and they all have those exit plans, and they've got multiple jets. And we saw, like, during the... Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you, billionaires, the same thing I have told other people. You aren't going to make it. You're not going to make it. I don't care how big your bunker is. I don't care how many Navy SEALs you pay. You are not going to make it. Why? Because you're a selfish piece of shit. And because you're a selfish piece of shit, those Navy SEALs are going to fucking eat you with the first month. They're going to fucking eat you alive. Those guys that you're paying, whatever stupid amount of money right now for them to show up and save the day when the world ends or when there's food riots, they're going to fucking eat you. They're going to eat you. They're going to eat your family. And they're going to be living in that bunker, drinking your wine, and having a good time. You haven't made quality friends. You haven't made your own tribe because you've been selfish and you're a fucking turd.
I just saw the thing you keep hearing about is Zuckerberg in Hawaii, right? They're building this $63 million bunker.
Why would you build a bunker in Hawaii? Zuckerberg.
It's
a fucking island.
And it's in Kauai, if I remember correct. I got another thing about Zuckerberg in Kauai. But the interesting thing is they keep saying, yeah, they made everybody sign NDAs. Well, they obviously didn't want to work because the fucking information's out there front and center now. Or maybe it's a diversion. I saw a picture of Zuckerberg with a giant ribeye on his plate, and they were talking about he wants to make the best. He's got Wagyu breeding with Angus, and he wants the best possible, and I think they threw equitable in there as well, cut of meat that you can buy, right? And he was talking, and I just thought it was funny that all these elites are telling us that you have to eat crickets and there's not going to be any more hamburger. And here he is with this he has started this cow farm, and because
it's not about
it's the rules for thee, not for me.
It's about them. It's not about the world. They don't give two shits about carbon emissions. They don't. That is just an excuse to get you to eat cricket loaf, guys. That's all it is. It's just an excuse to get you to fucking eat cricket loaf, to walk to work, to...
If you don't know what we're talking about with Cricket Loaf, Snowpiercer is the movie. There's a book series. You can just get the DVD or you see it online.
I think it's really cricket jello that they're eating.
Yeah, it's like this jello shit, and you don't really realize at first what it is. And then as you get further in the train, they get higher class as you move forward, and they're constantly fighting down these people in the back of the train who are trying to get to the front of the train, and there's no weapons, and they're just eating this cricket shit. Crickets have made it in. Cricket protein, mealworm protein, it's in your grocery store right fucking now.
Yeah.
In products that you have used and grown up with, something you've used that you remember from a kid that you still use, check that box. And it doesn't say cricket protein. And it also doesn't say now new improved with cricket protein and bug protein. They've just added it in there. They've got code words for it. And if you just find something that you're not sure what that ingredient is and Google that motherfucker, there is bugs in thousands of products right now, not as a byproduct, but intentionally as an ingredient in Walmart right now.
Well, you have a FDA approved percentage of bugs that can be in anything. Anyways.
Yeah, that's why Heinz. I always joked about that. It's not true, but I said that's why Heinz 57. There are allowed 57 bug parts, but there are so many rat hairs.
Yeah, that you can have.
Yep,
it's really big in chocolate, guys.
Yeah, huge for Hershey's for some reason.
Hershey's for some reason has a lot of bug parts in their chocolate.
That's the one that always came up.
And I will say this. Cricket protein is probably not bad for you. Like cricket protein is probably something that you could live off of. I'm sure that there's somewhere in the world where dudes are just eating grasshoppers, right? The point of it is this. It's not the cricket protein. The point of it is this. Bill Gates don't eat shit that has cricket protein in it. Zuckerberg does not eat anything that has cricket protein.
This is about to desensitize you, right? They can change the whole perspective through one generation, right? So if they can start putting this in there, they can go, guys, you've been eating this all along. Now here's this thing.
What is it? What did they eat what did the serfs eat back in the day?
Gruel.
Gruel. Yeah, it's the gruel. You'll be happy that you have gruel.
And that's what that was, right? So when you had the king in the castle, right? He had gameskeepers. If you as a serf farmer was caught out, hunting deer, you weren't allowed to hunt big game. You could hunt rabbit or whatever, but they would take you and put you in locks and stocks and even execute you in some cases.
Just cutting down the king's tree.
Yeah. And then still in Japan, there's certain trees they have forest keepers in Japan, and you are not allowed to cut any of these old trees down. But the king would allow you a few chickens. You could have the chickens and the eggs, you could have the poultry, and you would raise those crops, and then the king would tax those crops, and that would feed those king's cattle. Yeah. That's how that was.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. Probably Cody.
What's he doing?
Driving.
Gotcha.
So speaking of like materials, right? We order plastic that we use in some of our products to stiffen them and inserts and such. We order them off the West Coast. We've ordered from there for over 20 years now. Like when we were there, we went and directly and bought stuff there. When I ordered it, we order, 100 sheets at a time. They come on this big, huge pallet. And they're like, we don't have it. I can get it from another source. It's going to cost twice as much. I'm like, what's going on? He said, all the resin for this product comes from Texas, and when Texas power grid went down and all that stuff froze, the entire plant ruptured, like all of the tubing and the piping. He's like, we're not even sure it's coming back up. So when I went to order again, probably 6 months ago, he's like, we don't have it. I can't even source it from the other place. Don't know. We don't have this. I'm like, what do you have equivalent? So we got a replacement, but it's not the same shit.
Right.
Like the stuff we were getting was black. We could sew through it. Now we're just using the other stuff that was white, that we were thicker, using them for patterns and stuff. But it's like just not.
Can you sew through the new stuff?
If we got a thinner, we could. We don't actually sew through it. We don't need to.
Gotcha.
There's products out there. They're much more expensive though. Like we're dealing with companies that I keep saying this, 30 years we've done business, and these companies are just like, yeah, we're going to shut down. And I think what part of that is you have new generation coming up, or they wanted to escape the family, right? I don't want to be in the family business, so those kids went off, and there's nobody to run that place. They just don't want to continue the family business, and there's nobody to take it over. You're seeing that a lot right now. I have not spoke to a single business owner. If I talk to 1,000, there's not a one of them is like, yeah, we're at full capacity. We're constantly looking for people.
Right.
People come in, we run job postings, we do temp agencies, we do all these things. We get 20 people come in. Out of 20, maybe 2 or 3 show back up on Monday, and in a 90-day period, you've got one of them.
Speaking of 20 people, did you get any seamstresses?
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
We put a did you see the post I made?
I didn't. Yeah, last time we were here, you talked about it.
Okay, so I made a post on a local Facebook group. There's beggars and every day in there. Who can help me with my electric bill? Who can help me feed my dog? Who can help me feed my kids? I don't have Christmas presents. Every day. And when I say there's posts in there every day, there's like 100 of them every fucking day. I made a post, didn't address anybody. I just said, hey, SOE is hiring seamstresses. Show up. We'll put you to work. Just show up. That's all it takes. And there's 200 comments on there right now. And 150 of them, I would never work for somebody so stupid as you to not post an address. Well, I intentionally didn't post an address. There was 4 people in that comment that said, I have not sewn. Can you teach me? I'm like, we can absolutely teach you. Show up. A bunch of people went in there and did put the address in there. It's all through there. But all you have to do is click my profile name, and it says special operation. And there's a Google fucking map link straight to us. So not a single one of those people that said they were going to come showed up. A lady did show up on Friday, walked in, sewed for a while. I'm like, so did you heard about us from the Facebook post? She's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, local. She goes, oh yeah, I'm in that group. She goes, well, no, I said I wanted to work, and my husband's friend who was at the house said, hey, you should go try, you used to sew in Reno, you should go and try. She came in, she's working, doing great. And people are like, well, what's the pay? I go, the pay is dependent on you.
Right.
Like if you can come in here and sew, you're going to make twice what we're going to start you at. If I have to teach you, it's going to be very different. It doesn't, well, and the common thing is what's it pay? More than the fucking job you don't have right now. Because when I click your name, I see last week you were asking for Christmas presents for your kid. I didn't say that.
Right. But apparently it doesn't pay more than the job they have right now.
That might be the truth.
Because they won't get off the couch and come in. So
there might be something.
Somehow they're paying the electric bill.
Well, they're not.
Again, I don't understand how people are doing it, but
here in this town, like in San Diego, I always had a yellow slip or a pink slip right growing up. Mom always was late paying the bills. They never cut your shit off in San Diego. Never. Here, they don't fuck around. They'll turn your water off and put a lock on it. Yeah. They'll pull your meter. They take the meter out.
Yeah.
And then there's people every Wednesday in court for theft of services. Like they don't fuck around.
Yeah. Well, because I would say that it's probably more prevalent.
We know guys.
Or probably not more prevalent here, because it's probably if you do the analytics, it's probably the same in San Diego as it is here.
Yes.
The difference
we only
is
have 3,000.
Yeah. The difference is when it happens here, the electric company, who has their fucking shiny brand new building up there.
Oh, they're
with
pissed,
the bulletproof glass and all that shit.
Yep.
They're like, they feel it, right? They actually feel it. Where if fucking SDG&E, 100,000 people, like literally in San Diego, 100,000 people could be like, I'm not paying my bill this month. SDG&E wouldn't even notice it. They would be like, next month maybe we should send some people out and make sure those people got their bills, right? They wouldn't even notice it. We're here, you get that same percentage. They're like, holy shit, we got to turn half the lights off in this nice shiny building. We got
friends that work for the water and electric departments here. They're separate, and they'll make a post. Hey, bill's coming due. If you don't pay your bill tomorrow, there's going to be a $50 reconnect, and then the next day we're going to turn your shit off. And they pull out. It's, oh my God, it's Christmas. How dare you? You're just trying to, harm low-income people, and they just lose their fucking minds, man. And there's all these theories that, well, the board of directors all gave themselves a raise, so they had to raise our electric. They have no concept of how this shit works. Right. These guys over here, the power comes through lines. It's not like they make it in Camden, but it's pretty baffling, and that's how they are about everything.
And contrary to, again, everything is perspective in life, no matter what. Perspective is, man, you guys here in Camden or, Waverly, Tennessee, you motherfuckers don't even know what an electric bill is. Like if you even thought you knew what an electric bill is, go spend a month in California in the summertime. You will not only will you shit yourself, you will immediately move back to Camden and be like, I'm gonna pay that shit every time on the first, guys. It's done. Yeah. You don't even know what an electric bill is.
The electric bill on this property right here is $3,500, and they're pissing and moaning over $400, and they're running heaters and electric heaters and shit.
But I mean,
I don't even have electric fucking heat in this motherfucker.
If this building was in San Diego right now, that'd be a $9,000,
absolutely,
$9 or $10,000.
Yeah, for sure.
Electric bill.
Yeah, the big
and not only would it be $9,000 or $10,000, but because it's California, you'd have ran those fucking AC units half as much.
Yeah.
Right. So you would have used less electricity, but it would cost you twice
more.
as much.
Yep. Yeah, and that's so what's happening is people from this area, I'm not staying in this place, so they leave, go to Texas, California, wherever. Yeah. And things have gotten so expensive for them, they're now coming back here, right? Because and they remember the cost of what things were. When we moved here, we rented that first house I had, for $850, and it's like on 2 acres of property, right, yeah. 4-bedroom. Like it's that motherfucker there. That's a $2,500 house now
easy,
here.
Yeah.
So everybody moving back here, every day there's dozens and dozens. I need a 4-bedroom. There's no 4-bedroom houses here. I need a 4-bedroom house, 2.5 bath. I need a 2-car garage, and I'm only paying $800.
Yeah, nope.
Don't exist. Everybody,
don't exist anymore.
People bought those, cleaned them up, and they don't realize that they don't want to deal with shitty people anymore. They don't have to. People who bought those homes, There's enough people who have come in with a little bit of money, and because of the interest rates right now, it is cheaper for them to just rent a home than to buy a home. Yeah. So your higher caliber of renter is willing to and can pay $2,500. We don't have to deal with fucking some chick with her fucking 7 different kids and fucking 3 cats inside the house. Like, you don't have to deal with them motherfuckers, and they are losing their shit over it. It's just the greedy landlords. No, the greedy it's just people are tired of dealing with your ass.
And there's when you think about it, in this area, there's a shortage of housing anyways. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at just Waverly, we lost 100 homes. Yeah. Like 100 homes
from the flood,
non-livable. That means 100 now I'm just talking homes. That means 100 families had to find a place to live in a short period of time. We also lost our entire HUD development and the low income.
I saw they've got part of it's back online. I drove past it yesterday.
Yeah, part of it. I don't think the rest of it will, just because it's been a flood zone. But then we also lost that entire apartment complex. So I don't know how many people. I'm guessing there was probably, I mean, it's pretty big. I bet there's at least 100 units there. All those people needed a place to live.
Yes.
And if the supply is low and the demand is high, then guess what happens? The rates go up.
Yeah.
Period. And then, you had COVID and everybody from
and
the cities are
another thing to think
here.
of too is, if your people won't take care of you, why should other people take care of you? You might have to do some uncomfortable shit. Yeah. You might have to move into your parents' house and live in their fucking garage. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on.
Yep. And if you got time to complain, you got time to fucking work. Like, you might have to go and fucking take 3 jobs. There's a time in my life when I had 3 jobs, motherfucker. Like, I don't understand.
How old were you? How old were you when you had your second pizza job?
What do you mean my second pizza job? I've worked pizza many times. When
the last time when you got out.
When I came home from prison was in 2005. So I was, I don't know, early 30s?
Yeah.
Ish. I had 3 fucking pizza jobs. I was working 80 hours working at pizza places. 80 hours at pizza and coming home and sewing and falling asleep on a sewing machine in mom's fucking cold ass garage.
Yeah. So you guys could get a job if you want one.
They don't. Yeah, they don't want a job. I got to pee. What were we talking about?
I don't even remember.
Poor people.
Poor people?
Poverty mindset.
Poverty mindset, yeah.
So what about the aliens?
Apparently they hang out in malls in Florida.
In Florida.
How tall were they?
8 foot, I thought.
8 to
10 foot tall?
8 to 10 feet.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Again, the mall thing is a complete TikTok bullshit story. But the aliens that were in Las Vegas were 10 feet tall, too.
Mm-hmm. In the backyard?
Yeah, in the backyard. Yeah, there's a 10-foot tall thing. Why are aliens so tall? Could it be that the gravity is different on their planet and that's why they're taller?
Why are they so thin?
Well, if you're going to be super tall.
Well, they're actually fallen angels that bred and took females.
It's crazy that you say that, because did you see that where I think it's Jordan Peterson and I can't think of the other guy's name, the guy who did the really good debate against the dude that thought he was a girl or a girl that thought he was a dude. But they do a thing where it's like aliens or Nephilim. Aliens or Nephilim.
Yeah.
Or how about just a bunch of fucking crazy teenagers who were throwing fireworks in the mall and starting a riot?
Okay, so here's the thing that stands out to me about that. They say that there's teenagers throwing, fighting and throwing fireworks in the mall. And first you heard active shooter, you heard all of these things, massive response, and then they downgraded and it was just some kids. 2 weeks before that, in Nashville, at Opera Mills Mall, they have an active shooter and massive law enforcement response. So much of an active shooter that in Bass Pro Shop, they are putting people in the gun vault room and locking them in and they're locking themselves in gun safes and stuff, right?
Jesus, don't lock yourself in a gun safe.
Well, I mean, the gunman's probably not going to walk past a gun safe and shoot. You're probably safe in there. At least you're concealed.
Don't let that thing turn and click. You can't open a gun safe
I hear
from
what
the
you're
inside.
saying. So at the end of it, they said, there was no active shooter. It was just 2 kids fighting in the food court. I'm pretty confident, dude, if there was gunshots in the food court, you wouldn't hear them down in Bass Pro Shop. Like it's down and around the corner. Past
Yeah, Bass Pro Shop is
Bass
out.
Pro's huge in itself.
But did they hear gunshots, or did somebody just say there was gunshots?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But both of those, active shooter situations, and then boom, just no, it was two kids.
Because even if you think, because again, we're talking about a mall. Kids have this, and if I put on TikTok, you can't jump, you can't run up 25 egg crates and jump over these trash cans. Everybody's going to try and do it.
That's true, and everybody is walking around on platforms.
Yeah, so maybe we're just talking copycat, because again, if I had, if I'm throwing fireworks, depending on the type of fireworks, why wouldn't you call it active shooter? Your response is always going to be gunplay, because gunplay is such a tragedy that goes on in this country. So,
speaking of fireworks, you see the feds have now outlawed those fucking little bullshit airsoft flashbangs.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys got nothing better to do?
Yeah.
All the things that are going on. I mean, hey, spend some time at Hunter Biden's house before you start banning.
They're not even loud. They're like we buy firecrackers from Walmart. In damn Walmart, you can buy firecrackers that are way louder than that bullshit.
And speaking of
things, and remember, were you here when we did all those smoke grenades and shit? What we pulled pins on 20 of them and fucking 4 of them lit? I mean, how many lit off?
Maybe 3 out of
fucking none of them even worked.
Speaking of fire, I was going to say the same thing, because you said that last time a while back. You said that, and I had 3. I have 2. But I had 3 of those M18 smoke, not the real ones that company made.
Mm-hmm. Coming like out of Russia or somewhere.
No, those
Patriot.
Those 2 kids that built that whole company to make smoke grenades are just like. So I had 3 of them in my safe, because one of the parties, he came and brought them to me.
Yep.
And so I'm like, John said none of those fucking things worked, and I had kind of been. It was one of those like, I'm saving them, right?
Yeah.
Saving them for the day I really need them. And so, Will was out here, and I'm like, here, throw this smoke grenade. Let's see what it does. It popped, and then didn't do shit.
No smoke came out.
No smoke came out.
The shotgun primer went off or whatever it is. Yeah, the same fucking thing, man. So the first gen ones were metal, and they were having a problem getting the metal cans. So they went to a injection molded. And in theory, right, because the metal cans were rusting.
That's what I had.
Yeah,
the metal
cans were rusting, but I didn't have them in the back of a truck or something.
Right.
They were in a fucking thermostat, air conditioned building, always inside, not in the sun.
Same thing. I had mine. Yeah. Mine were in the safe.
Yep. So we had those and the second gen, the plastic ones. None of them popped.
I wonder. Again, I don't know, guys, if you were part of that company. I wonder if whatever the smoke material, whatever the material is that they used for the smoke, was super absorbent.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because we shot, I'm like, Will, shoot that damn thing. And so we shot it, and it was, all the material in it was soaking wet.
Weird.
And it still had the aluminum foil over the bottom, and it was in the safe.
Yeah, so where's it pulling the moisture from, even if that's the case?
So I don't know.
The best ones are just like the Enola Gay.
Yeah, the Enola Gays. Yeah.
The ripcord ones. But you can buy those shitty, like a fucking bag of that China plastic, it's that crinkly plastic at the fireworks store, just the ball ones. And you got to light them with a lighter. But if you throw fucking 6 of them, they put out a decent amount of smoke. You just don't have you can't carry them on your gear.
Yeah,
cool.
It just doesn't look as cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I still have 2 in the safe. I guess I should just throw them and see what happens. But it looked.
Put your camera on, videotape it.
I videotaped.
Make some footage of them not working, or maybe they worked that day.
Yeah. I think too that because I know they had a problem with the ignition source, because you can't use the same ignition source that the military uses, because it's basically the
ATF
plastic
went after
cap.
them. It was a destructive device.
Destructive device. So after shooting it and seeing what they did, how it was created, or how the fuse, I could see how they wouldn't work.
And to be clear, the ATF didn't go after Patriot. Patriot had conversation with the ATF and conformed to all of their requirements. So they put out this legal product.
Right. Yeah. So they could put out the legal product. So
yeah, you can buy
and I think, you know, in their defense, I do believe that when they were selling those, that they were like used within a year or some shit like that. Like there was an expiration date on them.
Dude, Guion threw them here. Jaeger threw them out front here. We used them. They worked. I just had, like, they don't work 5 years later, that's for sure. And in theory, like, I know military smoke. I had military smokes over 20 years old. There was never a problem.
Never a problem with the military smoke.
Always worked every single time. I never had a military smoke not fucking function.
Yeah, but then they're using a much more robust ignition system. So.
And we used to buy them, like, at the gun shows in San Diego at Del Mar Gun Show. I was buying them they were $25, and then they were $45.
$25, man. Those were the good old days.
How many comes in an ammo can? 6, or is it 2 layers? I don't remember. I think it's...
For some reason, I think 10, but I'm not sure.
10? I thought it was 6 and 6.
It might be 6. I'm just
do
the math in my head.
You can order Enola Gay and Shutter Bomb is another company. They seem to be the exact same thing. And you can get those. I think you can buy them even off Amazon has them.
Yeah.
Now they're in a cardboard tube, so they're more like a firecracker than a true smoke. But you could put them in a piece of PVC pipe and cap the ends of them, just tension, and that's going to keep the moisture out of them.
Yeah, I think that's the issue with them too, is the moisture.
The ignition,
for long term, you know, if you're going to long term store something like that. Anyways, fireworks.
So not aliens.
I don't think it was aliens, really.
So there's a bunch of active shooters. There seems to be active shooters happening like every fucking day right now.
I haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I'll start forwarding them to you.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them. But again,
they're not making their.
What does that mean, though?
They're trans shooters, or they're not. They don't look like your.
What does an active shooter mean?
They don't look like your white domestic terrorists, so they're not being really put out there.
Well, I mean, there is a standing order in the DOJ and the FBI to cover up. Is it cover up? It's probably not cover up. It's not a cover up if you're just not releasing facts. Is it a cover up? I don't know. But there is a standing order that there are certain domestic terrorist issues that happen that they don't release information on, that they don't let you know that, like, you know,
well, there's like a press blackout.
Yeah, there's a press blackout on certain stuff that they don't, because they don't, you know, whether it's good intention or not. They don't want reprisals based off of the ethnicity or sexual orientation of the individual, which is sad because here, again,
crazy
I will say
people.
this again, 100% of the time, the law has to be equal across the board, period. It doesn't matter if you're straight white guy or a trans Asian homosexual. Equal across the board. The minute you allow rule of law to break down to where it favors one side or the other or multiple sides or whatever, then the law no longer means anything. And if you don't have the law, you have nothing. And I hate to tell you this, there is a certain subsection of the United States and people that live in the United States that the only reason why you are walking the streets today is because the law protects you. And if the law no longer protects you, I feel for you. I really feel for you, because there are people in this country that you don't want to be on the wrong side of. That's just.
Well, I mean, even if we talk just as raw as criminals, right? Just violent criminals. If you take petty criminals, many of the petty criminals would be violent criminals, except for the fact of they think that they will get caught.
Yeah.
If your power went out and these Ring cameras stopped working and cell phones stopped working, just imagine. I mean, you see motherfuckers walking around, you can see them anywhere. They look like prey, right? I mean, they have.
Think about, you just gave a good example, Ring cameras. Ring cameras are everywhere.
Yep.
Ring cameras, I want you to think about this.
Those are what you optionally put up. Like when 24 came out, every building in the 90s, every concrete tilt-up box-built building had surveillance, seamless surveillance. Like all that shit they were doing in Jack Bauer 24, that was real shit. Like, it just depended what agency was after you and how fucking far they were willing to go to get you.
But just think, okay, you got every, we'll just say every middle-class suburban neighborhood has half a dozen Ring cameras on their neighborhood. People are still driving up in front of those houses, getting out of the cars, walking up on the porch and stealing packages, taking those packages and leaving. Why are they doing that? You know why they're doing that? Because it's considered a petty crime, and law enforcement is not enforcing that shit. If they even get caught, it's at best, it's a fine and back out on the streets. So why not keep doing it? That's what I'm saying. The rule of law, if you don't enforce the rule of law, it's only going to get worse, meaning the cameras don't mean shit, right? They're not, motherfuckers ain't putting masks on. They ain't doing shit. They're just walking up to the porch and stealing shit.
Yeah, every day, Amazon trucks, right? We don't have Amazon trucks out here. The post office and FedEx delivers all the Amazon shit here. But they have, in all the big cities, there's Amazon trucks. And the Amazon driver will stop to deliver a package, and 5 motherfuckers will mob that thing and just start ripping the shit out of the Amazon trucks.
It's like New York City. New York City has New York City's violent crime rate has gone up. Why has your violent crime rate gone up? Why has it gone up? It's gone up because the prosecutors are no longer enforcing the law.
New York City, they said 75% of commercial real estate is vacant right now.
Yeah, that's it. We are actually heading towards a commercial real estate bubble. It's Los Angeles is the same way. All those commercial buildings are empty, and the problem is the owners or the buyees are just handing the keys to the lenders and like, fuck it.
Yeah, they're defaulting.
They're defaulting on
That's
these loans.
happening on all the cars they gave people during COVID too. They were doing combined income, whether you were married or not. They were taking combined income and then not doing background. They weren't doing any credit checks. They were just handing these cars over, all the Challengers and the Chargers and shit, and they're defaulting. There's a huge they're saying that car lots are not able to sell cars. They don't have the inventory the higher end buyers want. Those cars aren't there. The inventory they do have, the people who would buy those cars can't qualify for those cars. So they're just it's imploding.
But we're headed for a bubble there too. But I don't know how that'll affect the economy.
So, but then when you look at so that's California, New York. When you look at Florida's commercial real estate, they're building like crazy, and they're at 95% occupancy.
Right.
Bet David was saying that they had looked at buying into, you and I talked about that the other day, these high-rise buildings and these commercial real estate, converting them to apartments, but the plumbing can't handle it, right? So what they're doing is they're going into these places, these investors, and they're going, hey, we'll take these 3 floors, convert these into condos and apartments, and then rent them out. So that's what's happening. And then your new builds that are happening, they're requiring in the zoning that part of them, so you have commercial office buildings, and then you'll have 3 or 4 floors where those people actually live in that same building.
Yeah, where they have.
Yeah, he also said like if you
dual
go
space. Right?
Yeah, when you go to the Four Seasons resorts and the Four Seasons hotels and properties, 3 or 4 of those floors will be actually people live there full time.
Well, that's because those places are taking a bath too. Like those high-end hotels are fucking empty in Los Angeles. People aren't fucking going into them. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, how does the commercial real estate market affect the overall economy in the long run? I don't know. The problem is for places like us, when we think about high-rise hotel or a fucking high-rise building in Los Angeles going fucking bankrupt, it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's like, fucking who cares? It's Los Angeles.
It's just like that anchor store in the mall. All those malls are.
The issue for small towns like us is these banks here in Camden have loaned money on those high-rise things. And so what you're gonna see when this fucking bubble bursts is a ton of small banks are just gonna disappear.
They just closed. So we have 4, I think, First Banks in Camden here.
Yeah.
And then Apex, right? Something happened with Apex, and they're like, peace out, motherfuckers, and they went to Waverly. They tore down that Victorian Easter egg house, and those motherfuckers were we got to save this house. Bitch, that house was for sale for 17 years, and you didn't buy it. So Apex tore it down, built their thing, pulled out of Camden. My bank branch is closing down, and they're moving my guys over to one of the other ones. But like where we've always walked in and we have all our employee accounts and we do all of our payroll and everything through there, they're shutting that bank down.
Look at my cans. It's the death water she told you not to worry about.
Is that what it says?
No, but why? Why mango? Why are you so smaller than lemon lime? Oh my God! It's the death water she told you not to worry about.
Does it say she told you not to worry about?
No, it's just a saying, John. Anyways,
So
so the banks are closing.
So you're drinking flavored water.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you drink right before that?
Mango.
What did I give you?
Oh, what is it?
First Form Energy.
First Form Energy. It did. I don't feel. What is it we were talking about earlier?
Jittery.
The crackhead drug that we used to take.
Hyperlean.
Hyperlean. I don't feel hyperlean at all, but it did. I feel like something happened.
Crackhead drug we used.
Come
to
on,
take.
come on. If the ATF or anyone, the DEA, saw a certain employee and the way he went after those pills, they would have banned that shit immediately. They'd have been like, there has got to be something illegal in there because he was on it. We could have hid those pills anywhere in the bar, and he would have found them.
What they call it, the Boone County mating call.
Yeah, Boone County.
You know, Tyler's from Boone County.
Yeah,
I didn't know that until I had joked about it or something.
yeah. That hyperlean used to make your butthole sweat.
Make your butthole
Sweat, boy. You take a hyperlean in 30 minutes, your butthole will be sweating. You'd be like, "What are we doing? Where are we going?" Do they even make them anymore?
Mm-mm.
No. Yeah. See, I told you. The DEA got in. They got involved, and they're like, "Yeah, you got to take whatever that is off the market."
No, I think he shut down his whole supplement. Same with Rob. Rob shut down his whole supplement line. Dana's got something going on, but I mean, if you look at all Dana's videos, she's sponsored by First Form, not First Form. Redcon One. She's doing all Aaron stuff.
Anyways, I just had to.
But that First
throw out
Form,
my sponsor.
But the First Form, it does taste good, right?
Says I can get them.
What, hyperleans? Oh
From
shit!
Champ Training? No
Yeah.
fucking way.
They got they have to be cut. I bet they cut those with baby powder.
I have some.
$69.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
about
worth
right.
every bit of it.
That sounds about right. Yeah, you want to make your butthole sweat? Go ahead and get you a bottle.
You'll
of
die
those.
if you take that. If you take that, you better work out. You
Yeah.
have to work out to burn that off.
Yeah, you better watch out. I would take half of one.
I should take one tomorrow morning.
Oh boy, seriously.
That's what we took. Was
we
half.
used to have these. We used to have these, man. Half those motherfuckers. You take a full one.
What's in it? What's the caffeine amount?
I'm trying to find.
They can't even list it. It's so high.
I'll bet he doesn't have inventory of it.
They can't even list it. It's so high.
It doesn't tell me.
Justin's doing a ton of content. Champ Training on Instagram. Check it out. Justin Swinney. I take some of his stuff and share it.
Nope, can't find it. Can you? I told you. They don't want the man coming down on them because it's not worldly. It's not of this earth. It's probably a little bit of moon dust. They sprinkle just a smidge of moon dust in
That's
there.
why the aliens are going crazy.
It says 700 milligrams proprietary blend.
700 milligrams of what?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, pure asshole burning sweat is what it is. It's pure jitter asshole burning moon dust.
Anal
Yeah,
drip.
anal definitely. It's a rough one.
It's what you want.
It's a rough one.
Make
I mean,
this what you want.
if you live in West Virginia, and if you've run out of that over the counter stuff, just get you some Hyperlean. I tell you, it's the what do they take the
Ephedrine, caffeine, and
no
aspirin.
the Modox what do heroin addicts take to get off of heroin?
Suboxone.
Suboxone. It's the Suboxone of whatever you're
Is it
taking right
Suboxone,
now.
or what's the other one they use? The methadone.
Yeah, it is definitely the
But hey,
methadone.
hey, for real though, Hyperlean has nothing to do with that. That's all downer shit. Hyperlean is a fucking awesome stimulant pre-workout. Like if you have been running through all these pre-workouts and they're not working for you, you might want to try the Hyperlean if
Take
it's
half
available.
a pill.
Yeah, for real. Take half of one. For real. Yeah, absolutely. You'll take you take a couple of those, you'll be seeing black and white.
I mean, my butthole's sweating right now, and I'm not even taking one. Like just thinking about it, my palms are getting clammy and shit.
Mike, yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Just thinking about that Hyperlean. Oh my goodness.
All right, you got anything else you want to talk about real quick? Before
I
we
don't
get
think
off
so.
here?
I think that's good.
All right, guys, we're going to jump over to Patreon. We got a bunch of questions over there.
Yay, Patreon.
You can join the Patreon at SOE Tactical Gear's Patreon. Jeff has a Patreon, Dog Kennel and Little Spoon.
Yep.
Make sure you join his membership on YouTube, which
Yep.
is also Dog Kennel and Little Spoon. He is halfway to his monetization. If you guys want to help support him, if you would watch the videos, just run the playlist and just let it run. Get your friends to do that. In no time, he'll be monetized and he'll be able to do this as a full-time job. Definitely the direction he's heading. He's got a ton of stuff that he's picking up to do reviews and such on. All that content, you guys really seem to love it. If you would help promote that and push that and have your friends just watch those videos.
Don't even have to watch them. Just play them in the background.
Just play them in the background. Just get that bumped up for them.
All right.
We're going to jump over to
Patreon.
and
Make sure you ask questions for Patreon.
For you Patreon members, we will see you there.